Near-death experiences are moments that can change a person forever. When caught on camera, they reveal the raw reality of how close someone came to losing everything. In this video, we'll look at 5 real stories of the most disturbing near-death experiences ever recorded. Moments of terror that will leave you thinking about how fragile life can be. It was November 2nd, 2013, in Superior, Wisconsin. 11 individuals, including 9 skilled skydivers and 2 pilots, prepared for what they thought would be a routine skydive to mark the end of the season. This group, comprising instructors and coaches with hundreds or even thousands of jumps each, had divided between 2 planes, a Cessna 185 and a Cessna 182. The plan was simple: fly to 12,000 feet, with the lead plane skydivers jumping first, followed by those in the trailing plane. But what started as an ordinary evening flight quickly turned into a harrowing ordeal. Among those on board was 64-year-old Mike Robinson, an experienced flight instructor and skydiver. He was one of 4 jumpers standing on the step of the lead plane, gripping its exterior, moments away from leaping into the sky. Suddenly, disaster struck. The trailing plane, flying slightly above and behind the lead aircraft, collided with it in midair. Robinson later described it as a big flash fireball, as the lead plane broke apart, one wing detaching entirely and flames engulfing the craft. Debris scattered through the air, and the impact threw 3 skydivers off the step of the trailing plane. Those still inside scrambled to exit immediately. The skydivers, now free-falling amid wreckage and fire, relied on their training to avoid falling debris and stabilize themselves. They deployed their parachutes while steering clear of the danger surrounding them. The lead plane's pilot, whose aircraft was no longer controllable, used his emergency parachute, which had no steering capabilities. Remarkably, he landed with only minor injuries despite his chaotic descent. Meanwhile, the pilot of the trailing plane fought to stabilize his damaged aircraft. In an extraordinary feat, he managed to regain control and safely land the plane at Richard I Bong Airport, a short distance from the crash site. On the ground, witnesses were stunned. Braden Kurtz, a resident, recalled hearing a loud boom and seeing a fireball in the sky, followed by planes spiraling downward. The skydivers, now descending with their parachutes, maneuvered around debris and safely landed at the planned drop zone. Despite the chaos, all 11 people survived the incident. Many were shaken, but thankful to have made it through alive. An investigation by the Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA, began immediately. Initial findings suggested that turbulence caused by the lead plane might have played a role in destabilizing the trailing aircraft, but the exact cause remained unclear. For Skydive Superior, the company operating the planes, the incident abruptly ended the season. With their only 2 aircraft damaged, their future operations were uncertain. In the aftermath, Robinson and other survivors reflected on the importance of preparation and training. He credited their ability to remain calm and act decisively to the rigorous safety protocols they followed. Helmet cameras worn by several skydivers captured the entire incident, offering a first-hand view of the collision, fiery wreckage, and the moments of survival that followed. This footage was later shared with media outlets, providing rare insight into the event. For Robinson, who had completed over 900 jumps, this experience was unforgettable but not a deterrent. Despite the trauma, he expressed eagerness to return to skydiving when conditions allowed. For him and others, the incident became a reminder of both the risk involved and the resilience required in their shared passion. The survival of everyone involved was nothing short of remarkable. Had the skydivers not been positioned to jump when the planes collided, the outcome could have been far worse. The lead pilot's reliance on his emergency parachute carried significant risks, as any failure could have been fatal. Similarly, the trailing plane's pilot faced tremendous challenges in landing his damaged aircraft, and his success prevented additional destruction. Falling debris also posed a danger, but incredibly no one on the ground was harmed. This event stands as an extraordinary example of survival against overwhelming odds. Thanks to their skills, quick reactions, and a bit of luck, all 11 individuals walked away from what could have been a devastating tragedy. It was October 2021 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, where Jonathan Goodwin, a celebrated escapologist known for his high-risk stunts, was rehearsing for America's Got Talent Extreme. His act involved escaping a straitjacket while suspended upside down 30 feet in the air. Two cars hanging on either side of him were set to swing toward each other, with the plan being for Jonathan to free himself and fall safely onto a mattress below before the vehicles collided. Unfortunately, the stunt went terribly wrong. The cars crashed into each other too early, trapping Jonathan between them. The collision caused a massive explosion, and Jonathan fell to the ground, hitting his head from 30 feet high. The impact left him severely injured. His spinal cord was damaged, his legs were shattered, his shoulder blades were broken, and he suffered third-degree burns. He also lost a kidney and nearly lost his life twice, once during a fall and later on the operating table. The scene on set was chaotic. Many feared Jonathan had not survived as he was unresponsive after the accident. Emergency crews rushed him to a trauma center where surgeons performed life-saving procedures. His injuries left him paralyzed from the waist down, but despite the devastating news, Jonathan showed remarkable strength. He kept his fans updated from his hospital bed, expressing his gratitude for the outpouring of support from family, friends, and admirers. His fiancée, British actress Amanda Abington, was a constant source of strength. After the accident, Jonathan offered her a chance to leave their relationship, knowing how drastically their lives had changed. Amanda, however, refused, choosing to stay by his side. The couple, who had only been together for a month before the accident, grew closer through this shared ordeal. Amanda later shared details of the incident during a heartfelt television interview, describing the surgeries and the challenges Jonathan faced during recovery. For Jonathan, the journey back involved months of hospital stays, intensive rehabilitation, and relearning everyday tasks. Adjusting to life in a wheelchair was difficult, but he tackled it with determination, leaning on his background as an escapologist to navigate the physical and emotional hurdles. Before the accident, Jonathan had performed on prestigious stages worldwide, including Broadway, London's West End, and the Sydney Opera House. He was also a finalist on Britain's Got Talent in 2019 and appeared on America's Got Talent in 2020. However, the life-altering event forced him to shift focus. Now he has embarked on a new career as a hypnotist, using the skills he learned through his friendship with renowned hypnotist Darren Brown. Jonathan now helps others with issues like anxiety and phobias, finding meaning in this new chapter of his life. The accident also deepened his bond with Amanda. The couple now lives in Hertfordshire, England, having left behind Jonathan's previous home in Las Vegas. Jonathan often speaks about living in the moment, emphasizing that focusing on the past or worrying about the future accomplishes little. He believes in adapting to life's challenges and making the best of every situation. Production for America's Got Talent. Extreme was paused temporarily after the accident, with safety concerns becoming a major topic of discussion. The national broadcasting company, the show's network, expressed their thoughts and support for Jonathan and his loved ones. Despite the trauma, Jonathan continues to inspire, sharing motivational messages with his followers and encouraging them to find strength during hard times. Reflecting on his experience, Jonathan admits that while he wouldn't wish such an ordeal on anyone, it has given him a new perspective on life. He values the present more than ever, focusing on love, resilience, and kindness as constants. His story reminds us how quickly life can change and how human determination can transform even the toughest circumstances. In 2024, the rugged Fanzhengjian Mountains in Anhui, China, became the backdrop for a life-threatening ordeal involving 42-year-old Yang Meng. Located about 280 miles west of Shanghai, the area had recently endured torrential rains from two typhoons, Bebinca and Yagi. These storms had left the trails slick and hazardous. Yang, an experienced hiker, was traversing the challenging terrain with a friend, documenting the journey using a 360-degree camera. Despite his expertise, the conditions that day posed unforeseen dangers. As Yang cautiously navigated the rain-soaked paths, he suddenly lost his footing. The camera in his hand recorded the terrifying moment he slipped and began tumbling down a steep slope. He later reflected on how he couldn't stop himself as he fell faster and faster, realizing he might be heading off a cliff. The footage showed Yang desperately flailing his arms, trying to grab onto anything to halt his descent. His panicked cries echoed through the mountains, underscoring the precariousness of his situation. The relentless rain only made the slippery rocks more dangerous. Yang's rapid descent seemed unstoppable until he crashed into a tree. The force of the collision abruptly ended his fall, vividly captured on his camera. The impact was jarring, but may have saved his life. He later reflected on the sensation of a massive weight slamming into him, and the overwhelming realization that he was still alive. Though shaken and in pain, he discovered his injuries were minor: bruises on his leg, a scrape on his hand, and a small cut on his thigh. His survival with such minimal harm was nothing short of extraordinary. After his recovery, Yang uploaded the video of his fall to Douyin, China's version of TikTok. It quickly went viral, amassing over 280,000 likes and 445,000 shares. The raw footage shocked viewers and drew widespread admiration for his resilience. Many expressed amazement at his survival and credited the tree with saving his life. Others emphasized the unpredictable dangers of nature, even for seasoned adventurers. The incident had a profound effect on Yang. The ordeal left him with a renewed appreciation for the brevity of life and the importance of valuing each day. Instead of feeling discouraged, he drew motivation from his survival and resolved to continue exploring. His positive outlook resonated with people worldwide, inspiring many to reevaluate how they approach both nature and life's challenges. The hazardous conditions that led to Yang's fall were not isolated. Just days earlier, typhoons Babinka and Yagi had ravaged the region, bringing heavy rainfall and strong winds. The storms caused widespread damage, prompting the evacuation of over 400,000 people. Roads were submerged, power outages occurred, and flights were canceled. In Shanghai, Babinka was the strongest storm to strike the city since 1949. The rain left the mountainous trails dangerously slippery, creating the perfect conditions for accidents like Yang's. While Yang's survival was remarkable, his story raises important questions about safety in such environments. Could additional warning signs or protective measures prevent similar incidents? What precautions should adventurers take in hazardous conditions? For those inspired by Yang's journey, his experience is both a lesson in preparation and a reminder of the unpredictability of nature. Yang Meng's narrow escape captivated millions, showing both the risks and rewards of exploration. His story underscores the importance of resilience and the value of every moment. Though the mountains tested his limits, Yang emerged not only alive but determined to embrace life's adventures with renewed enthusiasm. On July 8, 2022, 27-year-old British tourist Harry Shimon from the Isle of Man found himself in a life-threatening situation while trekking in the Tian Shan Mountains of Kyrgyzstan. Harry was part of a group of 10 tourists, 9 from Britain and 1 from the United States, on a guided adventure through this remote region of Central Asia. Their group also included guides and horsemen to ensure a safe journey. On this particular day, the group had reached the highest point of their trek when Harry decided to take a short detour to capture the breathtaking views. Standing at the edge of a cliff, he was completely unaware of the danger about to unfold. While admiring the scenery, Harry suddenly heard the sharp sound of ice cracking in the distance. When he turned, he saw an enormous avalanche cascading down the mountainside from a glacier high above. Awestruck by the sight, Harry began recording the event on his phone, a decision that would later spark both praise and criticism online. Despite the apparent risk, Harry explained that he had little choice but to stay in place. The cliff edge left him with no safe path to escape, and his best option was to take cover near a small rock formation nearby. Believing he had enough time, Harry continued filming until the avalanche came dangerously close. In his recording, Harry's panicked exclamations can be heard as the massive wave of snow surged toward him. Initially, he thought it might not reach his position, but as it closed in, he rushed to crouch behind the rock. Within moments, the avalanche engulfed him. Harry later described the terrifying experience. He was surrounded by darkness, the air grew difficult to breathe, and he feared for his life. When the snow finally settled, he was shocked to find himself unharmed, covered in just a thin layer of powder. Relieved and overwhelmed by adrenaline, Harry rejoined his group, who had been positioned farther from the avalanche's path. Although most of the group escaped unscathed, the incident left its mark. One woman suffered a severe knee injury that required immediate attention. She was taken to a nearby medical facility on horseback for treatment. Another group member had minor bruises after falling off a horse. Despite the injuries, the group was grateful to be alive, especially after witnessing the destruction left by the avalanche. Harry later reflected that if the group had continued walking for just 5 more minutes, they would have been directly in the avalanche's path. The area they were supposed to cross was completely obliterated, with enormous chunks of ice and debris scattered across the landscape. Harry shared his video on Instagram, where it quickly gained attention. He acknowledged the risks he had taken by filming, but explained that he felt he had made the safest decision given his limited options. The footage provided a rare glimpse into the raw power of nature and how quickly a situation can turn dangerous. Walking through the aftermath of the avalanche left the group deeply shaken. Their planned route had been destroyed, and the bridge they were supposed to cross was no longer intact. The close call served as a reminder of how fortunate they were to have survived. While Harry's video garnered praise for its dramatic imagery, it also drew criticism. Some viewers questioned why he didn't prioritize seeking shelter over filming. In interviews, Harry explained that his position on the cliff offered no easy escape. He believed that staying calm and taking cover was his best chance of survival. The incident also showed the unpredictable risks of exploring mountainous regions like the Tian Shan. The Tian Shan Mountains, which stretch across Kyrgyzstan and the border with China, are renowned for their beauty but are also known for their hazardous conditions. Experts warn that avalanches in such areas are becoming more frequent as climate change accelerates the melting of glaciers. For Harry and his group, the experience underscored the importance of being prepared for the unexpected in such treacherous environments. They left the mountains with a greater appreciation for life and a sobering awareness of the dangers posed by nature's power. It was December 8, 2022, a sunny Thursday morning off the coast of Magic Island, Hawaii. 30-year-old Christopher Lastra, an experienced diver from California, had spent over a decade exploring underwater reefs and spearfishing. That day, what began as a routine dive turned into a harrowing experience that would change his perspective forever. Christopher typically used a buoy to alert boaters of his presence as required by law. However, his buoy had been swept away the week before and he hadn't replaced it yet. Despite understanding the risks, he decided to dive without one in the high-traffic waters near Magic Island. Reflecting later, he admitted that he knew the rules, but chose to ignore them. Equipped with his gear, Christopher entered the crystal-clear Hawaiian waters, using his spear gun to hunt for prized fish like mu and uhu. The shallow reef provided ideal conditions, and the water was calm, a perfect day for an experienced diver like him. Beneath the surface, the underwater world seemed peaceful, with vibrant coral and darting fish. But above, boat traffic was busy, with operators unaware of the lone diver below. As Christopher focused on his dive, he suddenly heard the unmistakable sound of a boat engine growing louder. Alarmed, he considered staying underwater but felt compelled to check the boat's position. When he surfaced, his worst fears were confirmed. A boat was speeding toward him only 5 yards away. Without a buoy or flag to signal his presence, the boat driver had no warning of a diver in the water. Panicked, Christopher shouted, but the boat was too close to stop. Thinking quickly, he propelled himself away from the boat's center, avoiding the propeller by mere inches. The boat passed over him, its propeller slicing through the water dangerously close. Miraculously, Christopher emerged unharmed, though shaken. His dive fin, however, bore the brunt of the close call, shredded by the propeller. Later, Christopher reflected on the terrifying moment with a sense of regret. He acknowledged that he should have used a buoy and recognized the risks he had taken by diving into a busy area without proper safety precautions. His immediate reaction was not relief at narrowly escaping harm, but remorse for neglecting basic safety measures. In the face of danger, his thoughts were consumed by the realization of his mistake. The incident, captured on Christopher's camera, was later shared on his YouTube channel, Men of the Spirit. The footage, showing the tense moments leading up to and during the near miss, quickly gained attention. In the video caption, Christopher took full responsibility, acknowledging that diving without a buoy had put him at risk. The video sparked widespread discussions about diver safety and the importance of following regulations. Kendall Smith, a United States Coast Guard diving supervisor in Honolulu, reviewed the footage and noted how fortunate Christopher was to have survived. Smith highlighted the critical role of dive flags and buoys in ensuring diver safety. explaining that boaters are legally required to maintain a no-wake zone within 200 yards of these markers. Without such precautions, divers face significant risks. Smith also identified another concern. Christopher had been diving alone, which goes against standard safety practices that emphasize always diving with a buddy, having a clear plan, and preparing for unexpected situations. For Christopher, the experience was life-changing. Despite his years of diving expertise, he had underestimated the risks of ignoring safety protocols. The incident left him with a deep sense of gratitude for surviving and motivated him to advocate for diver safety, encouraging others to always use buoys and dive flags. In his video, he emphasized the importance of always diving with a buoy, highlighting that it's not worth risking one's life. The incident raises critical questions. What if Christopher had stayed underwater? What if the propeller had struck more than his fin? What if the boat driver had been more alert? While Christopher escaped with only a damaged fin and a frightening memory, the outcome could have been far worse. This story underscores how crucial preparation and awareness are for divers. Christopher's experience serves as a reminder of how quickly things can go wrong when safety is overlooked. Though he was lucky to walk away, he hopes his story will encourage others to prioritize their safety in the water.